If it's for resource sharing, they have a set they'll give to you, higher figure. If it is for monitoring, they give you some figure different from that. So there's a lot of corruption, and when you go to collect data, corruption also manifests itself. The third key reason that our respondents told us is inadequate technology and facilities for data storage and retrieval. Let's go on to the solutions that our respondents proffer. One is that research and data collection should be better funded. Are we to build capacity or strengthen capacity of data collectors and those who will conduct data analysis? We need strong political will to make data available for national development. And the last one here, provision of facilities for data storage and retrieval. We asked our respondents to give us exemplary practices, almost all of them, 70, about 107. But you see, when we asked for those who will not mind our mentioning their names in the report, 78 of them indicated. So you find their names mentioned in the report because they give us authority to quote them. So we have for several, but you can see 4 of in Nigeria, in South Africa, in Ghana, in Cameroon. We'll be hearing clips of this in a little while. Now, a model framework for data-driven policies. Our third researcher, Debimpe Akikotu, I don't know who Bimpe is here. I've been trying to reach her so that she can present this model. Very good model, which we discussed, which has this kind of cyclical framework. Now, the meat of our presentation is the proposal of this 10-point agenda towards setting up a policy data unit for CESA higher education cluster. 10-point agenda. The first, as you will see, is not necessary in any order. We have to select national data collection units in every country in the region. If you want data, 54, if you like 55 African countries, you got to get one agency, a point where you will be able to collect the data at the national level for higher education. Now, how do you get this? There should be a survey. So PDU, when it's been said, should do a survey of existing higher education institutions or agencies with track record of being able to collect and process verifiable data. Verifiable is very important here because you can ring a bell in wherever PDU is, bring data. They can give you any kind of data. And the example of National Universities Commission is given here. Now, the person, we've selected some people from different countries to give us a short perspective. They'll be able to tell us. Now, let me quickly tell you about it, that of National Universities Commission. That of National Universities Commission. Today, if you ask me or anybody in the system to tell you enrollment, access, all the indicators, or most of, there's one, Rudolphine. Can you stop, if you don't mind? Yeah, marking the screen. Rudolphine, W, maybe you want to stop marking the screen. So what you find is a set of a system that were established that if you want the latest data, you're able to get it. And it's not data that are conjecturally presented by the academic planning units of our universities, but data that are verified and validated. I have a book here, which I'll show. This is this book, if you can see it, The State of University Education in Nigeria 2019. We have the one for 2020. Every data, and it's online. It can be processed. We can derive the results of several indicators, from it. After having the national, we may have the sub-regional coordinating node for national agencies. In other words, for West Africa, we can get a node, coordinating node, maybe in Ghana or Sierra Leone, that will, the data that have been validated from the national are transmitted, just like kind of clearinghouse at the sub-regional level. The data aggregated and then processed for acceptability to the regional level, to the PDU. The PDU is established as a regional policy data unit in a location that is determined through objective criteria and geopolitical considerations. The next one, number 4, is building institutional capacity. Building capacities in 2 areas. One is institutional capacity, the other is human capacity. You know, we talked about national points for data collection, validation, and processing. So you need to build you have to build institution, especially in the area of technical infrastructure for EMIS. And then you have to build human capacity. Now, all staff of institutions at the national, regional, sub-regional, and regional levels will have to be trained to upgrade their knowledge and skills in EMIS and data-driven policy development. Now, this training, of course, will have to be continuous. Very important item is number 6. We're talking about data for higher education that will drive policies. So what kind of data are we looking at? We have to agree region-wide about the standards for all the higher education indicators. Our suggestion here is that the education indicators should target broad areas of access. Data on gross enrollment ratio, net enrollment ratio, and all of that, on quality, on equity, on funding, and efficiency. But beyond this, we have to agree at the level of the region, just like we have African standards and guidelines, we have to have standards and guidelines for the data that we collected based on the indicators. So for the contemporary global goals like SDGs, will have indicators that we'll agree upon, and also for our regional goal agenda 2063. If you went to the UIS site, you find data for sustainable development goals. And incidentally, you have some data for agenda 2063, some indicators. So we have to work in a way where we will agree on those common standards for our indicators. I started this afternoon that based on its annual data collection, the UIS produces a range of indicators to track trends in tertiary education at the global, regional, and national levels. These data include enrollment and graduation ratios, disaggregated by sex and type of program, enrollment rates in private and public institutions, and graduates by field of study. It has also developed a series of unique indicators to track the flows of foreign or mobile students, and all of that. So you can see higher education. So UIS, UNESCO Institute for Statistics. I was part of, I got training in the 1992 SOFA report, a long list of indicators for higher education that PDU that we're envisaging should look at and pick those that are relevant to our region. Number 7 of 10 is data verification. You have to verify the data. You have to validate the data. You see, when there's these ranking schemes, global ranking schemes, Times Higher Education, they collect data from institutions all over the world, and how they are able to validate that data, I'm not too sure. But for CESA higher education, the policy data unit, you must be able to install a validation mechanism, not just collect data straight from the institution or regional. There'll be some validation at the different levels. Very importantly is data security. That should be given attention. 8 is partnerships. We can't sit here in Africa, we are green, new, PDU. We have to establish partnerships with those organizations, global organizations that are already standing tall with regard to higher education statistics. UNESCO Institute for Statistics is one of them. The World Bank collects higher education data, UNDP, and agencies in other regions that are playing similar roles that PDU want to play in the areas of EMIS and policy formulation. We've got to form partnerships with them. And then monitoring and evaluation is number 9. We have to conduct periodic monitoring and evaluation. And number 10, extremely important, like the others, we have to incentivize all the persons in the PDU chain. If you do not give them some special remuneration, the turnover rate will be very, very heavy. And you train them and they go, and you are back to square one or square zero. So longevity on the job, greater efficiency and commitment to duty, PDU will have to get some special scale for remuneration. As for Juma Shabani said, I work well. I'm chairman of council of National Open University of Nigeria, and we have special scale for our IT people. If you don't do that, next week they are all gone. So for the people working in PDU, technical people, administrative people, they have to be specially remunerated. So these are the 10 points that we have. And it's now my pleasure to start inviting the following persons in this order. Cameroon, Mrs. Esther Sene Deme of University of Douala, and then we'll get Professor Ibrahim Mona from Egypt, Professor Dambata from Nigeria, Her Excellency Daboussar, Senegal Virtual University, and Dr. Van Schawick. So let's start with Esther Asene from Cameroon. You have the floor to share your country experience. Please unmute yourself and take the floor.
Okay, thank you, Professor. So my video is blocked. Okay, I'll continue now. Okay, thank you. It's a really great pleasure. I don't know if everybody's understanding me.
Yes, please. I am, by the way. And I'm sure the English-speaking people are here. And
okay,
it's been translated. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I said I will present in English. Okay, so I'm so grateful for this opportunity to talk in front of you, great professors, doctors, and almost experienced people. And what I would like to share about my country, I'm from Cameroon, and in my country, for example, I took the case of demography. So to have real statistics of the population, our government sent trained teams in quarters, how they go from houses after houses in order to know exactly who is staying here, how many people stays here, things like that. So a part of that, when concerning schools, what's happening is the database used concerns only the students who subscribed during the academic year. Let it be students from primary, nursery, or universities. So that's the statistics they take in order to give an appropriate number of students. Okay, so we have to hire Institute of Statistics that was created by the government, and that institute have a lot of students coming from the sub-regions, let it be Congo, small Congo, Chad, and they come here to study about statistics. And most of those people are being used are be trained in order for them to give us real statistics when they go to our different institutions. So now the last things now we can take from that is, first of all, the training of youth. And I think that's important, because not only because it gives people experience and it gives them two jobs, and the system too is digitalized. So since the system is digitalized, it gave us more liability I don't know how to say it well in English, but we trust the data. We have a little trust in the data that have been given because everything is being digitalized. It's not like people were writing 10 years ago on sheet of papers and they say, okay, these are the real numbers. These are the real statistics of students or the real statistics of the population. And the other point too is the fluidity of information. Since things are digitalized, so it's more easy to send, for example, an email. For example, people from Douala, after counting the students in various universities, let it be private or public universities, they will send the statistics to the higher institution for them to join, to combine with all the different schools and give us a real statistic. But in conclusion, I will just go straight to the point. I really appreciate what Professor Akibukola said, Peter Akibukola, because he mentioned the verification. And that's the most point, because I myself, when I went to meet some people in the Statistic Institute, I asked them, how do you work on your verification? And that was just where the conversation stops. It was really difficult for us to be sure. But I understand them because I would like to name this author, Mark Twain, who said there are three kinds of lies. There are lies, there are damn lies, and there are statistics. So it's not easy to give real statistics, let it be on education or even on demographic. Concerning education, for example, we have students that are not going to continue.
Esther, you need to round up now. Esther, you need to round up now. You need to round up. You know you are supposed to speak for 3 minutes here.
Okay, so yeah, that was my last sentence I wanted to give, but it's fine. Thank you very much, and I'm well pleased.
Thank you so very much, Esther Sene from Cameroon. Ladies and gentlemen, we go on to, I got a note from Professor Ibrahim Mona. He agreed to make this presentation, but is not able to join us at the moment. If Professor Dambata Umar from Nigeria is here, you may wish to take the floor. Professor Umar, are you here? Yeah, he's trying to come in. What I found is that, Elizabeth, your system can only accommodate 100 people. I have a system that can take 500. If I'd known, would have set this up. Dambata is not able to come in, so let me check if it's in the room. No, it's not. Okay. He has been trying to come in. The capacity, Elizabeth, the capacity of your Zoom is rather limited. So let's go to Senegal. We have Rufina Daboussar. Madame, please share your experience, your country experience
Bonjour.
from Senegal.
Je me réjouis d'avoir été invitée aujourd'hui parmi ces grandes sommités que je considère comme mes professeurs, professeur Chabani, professeur Okebukola, Peter, professeur Mba, et je voudrais joindre ma voix.
And I would like to echo my voice to yours. I greet welcome to you all, and it's a real pleasure to say a few words concerning the problem of statistics and database, which is, from my point of view, a concept of paramount importance. Why? Because it is the foundation for our policy formulation. That is why we need to pay extra attention to this. We can highlight that this is not the case in many countries. We do not assign the priority it deserves. Now, if we don't know through statistics what the reality of our country is, how can we formulate sound policies? That's why I think this initiative is most timely, because it contributes to improve higher education standards for a better education in this and other areas. I am willing to participate with you in this quest and initiative. I would like to add of the importance of statistics to improve higher education in the continent. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Her Excellency Rufina Dabusar. I can see that the ambassador from Nigeria, Professor Dambata, you're here. If you want to take the floor at this time, Professor Dambata, I saw him in the room a little while ago. Else, we're going on to South Africa, Dr. Van Schalkwyk from Stellenbosch University. Dr. Francois, if you want to take the floor now, it's all yours.
Hi, everyone. I'm going to leave my camera off if that's okay, because I'm not in the office and I keep getting flashes.
No problem.
My internet's unstable. So I hope you can hear me clearly. I know I've got 2 minutes. I'm going to go quickly.
Take 3 minutes. Take 3 minutes.
Okay. Okay. If I need it, maybe I'll still stick to 2. Let's see how we go. So I really just want to talk about 2 particular initiatives and highlight some of the lessons from those and what we can take from them. The first was a project that I was involved in, which was called the Higher Education Research and Advocacy Network in Africa, also known by its abbreviation HIRANA. It was a project that worked with 8 universities in Africa and collected data from 2001 to 2015. The focus was mainly on the research performance of these universities. And as someone mentioned earlier, how could we assess the research performance when there was no data available? So although the broader objective was to evaluate the performance of these universities, the actual focus became on collecting the data needed to conduct that performance. The project ran for about 10 years, so it was a long process, and I think that's important, that these processes can't be done quickly in multi-countries. And I think the biggest achievement was something that's often not acknowledged, and that was the development of standards that could be used to do cross-national comparisons. Systems are slightly different in national contexts, and there's a lot of discussion to be had about what is included and what is excluded, what definitions mean, what a full-time equivalent means in one country may be something completely different in another. So there needs to be agreement on these before you can start collecting the data. Otherwise, comparisons become tricky. And it's not a quick process, but once you've got those standards in place, it really facilitates data collection and analysis. One of the shortcomings of that particular project was that it was donor funded. So as soon as the funding dried up, the data collection stopped, although we suspect that at some universities it continued. Some of the process had been institutionalized, but we're pretty sure that didn't happen at all 8 universities. So there are issues there around sustainability and the incentives of the participating universities to continue with data collection after the project had ended. And that's where I come to my second example, which is the Higher Education Management Information System, which is South Africa's higher education data management system that's managed by the Department of Higher Education and Training. For all 26 public universities in the country, they collect student and staff data. There are standards in place. There are mechanisms and processes for verifying and cleaning the data before it is released. Release is sometimes a bit slow, in my opinion, but it is released and can be accessed on request or via aggregated data tables. There are problems accessing the raw data because they contain ID numbers and therefore personal data, and that's always an excuse used by governments not to release data. Instead of coming up with solutions about how to anonymize that data, we just get told, sorry, you can't access that data. But I think what is important from the example of HEMIS are two things. One, that it's a requirement to submit data. If you don't submit your data as a university, you don't get your funding. It's a very basic incentive and a very powerful one. Yeah. And this has led to the institutionalization of data collection in the universities. So there's been organizational adaptation at a structural level. So there's a HEMIS office, so an office with a HEMIS officer and assistants, and their sole job is to collect data. And that in itself, as you may well know, if you work at a university, is not straightforward. I can give you an example at the University of Ghana, where we had a number for PhD graduates in a particular year. We got 3 different numbers from the university. And the hardest person to convince was the Vice Chancellor, because he said, I was at all the graduations and I know the number was different. But of course, he wasn't thinking about what counts and what doesn't count, what is partial. So that's the job of the HEMIS officer or the data officer, is to try and reconcile these different sources of data that come at them from different parts of the university. So I think the issue is around sustainability, as I said, with incentives. And I think that's often missing in a lot of plans that I see. What's going to make people contribute that data? And there are many different incentives. Even data use itself can become an incentive. Again, I can use the University of Ghana as an example. We know that one of their funders was very impressed when they could present data to the funder and say, these are changes over time. So through their use of data, which depended on collection, they could make a positive contribution, presentation to a particular donor. So I think I'll leave it there. I'll put in the chat some publications that deal with these in a little bit more detail if anyone's interested in following up. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Professor. We appreciate the example from South Africa. We got example or case study from Cameroon, we're going to get from Nigeria in a minute because Professor, where is he now? I hope he hasn't going over this. So I picked quite a few things from the South African example, and that's about having the HEMIS office in the university and incentivizing every people along the chain, just like we said in the 10-point agenda. We need to have standards to make comparisons very easy. Can we take Nigeria now? Nigeria, are you ready? Okay, it's not. Now, we're opening up the floor. We have like 20 minutes. We're opening up the floor to contributions from the, let's see, okay. If you want to take the floor, please just raise your electronic hand. If you look at the reaction button, I think it's the last one at the bottom of your screen, you'll find a hand there. Just, I can see, I will just identify those that will get to speak. Kadza, Adu, don't speak yet. I will just let you, I will identify those who will speak and then we'll take it from there. Kadza, Umar, Hove, Bugoma, Fredawa. We're going to stop it that way for now. Kadza Adu, please unmute and take the floor. Kadza
Yes,
Adu?
hi, yes, I'm here. Thank you very much for this meeting, and thank you also for reaching out to all of us to let us contribute. I wanted to raise the issue of university rankings and how they have found a way of extracting data from all of our universities, and just building on Dr. von Schalkwyk's comments that it's very important that there are incentives in how to collect the data. Otherwise, as we have seen, it's not done. And it's extremely important that it's done timely, because a statistic that was valid 5 years ago is not so useful for policy formulation today, especially in a quickly changing world. So I think that was my contribution at this point. Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much, Kazad. Which country are you from? Are you based in or are you from?
Yes. So I'm a complicated world citizen. I am from Sweden and currently residing in Sweden, but I lived in Ghana for 12 years and did my doctorate at University of Ghana that was mentioned before. I was one of them who are difficult to count.
Thank you. Michael, Professor Michael Ahobe.
Thank you very much, sir. My little concern is about sustainability of this project.
Which country are you from? Which country? Please introduce yourself and then tell us the country you're from.
Michael Ahobe from Nigeria.
Okay, go ahead.
Please carry on.
My concern has to do with sustainability of this project. How do we plan to sustain this project, at least for the next decade, to ensure that we have large data for the next 10 years, 20 years in our higher institutions in Africa? The second concern has to do with political...
Professor Michael Ahobe.
Yes, sir.
Professor Michael Ahobe.
Yes, sir.
You know, today we are not fishing in waters where we are bringing the challenges. We are fishing. We want to conclude this session by offering solutions. So how do we do this? Sustainability you mentioned, don't begin to bring up challenges. Give us the solution. What you think are the solutions to the things we are going to be asking us about? So sustainability, how do we sustain it? That's what we'll be glad for you to tell us.
Yes, sir. Okay, my suggestion in that aspect for our higher institutions from the local level in every African country should ensure that it's a policy. There should be a document, a policy document to entrench quality data with integrity. It should be entrenched in our documents. And the African countries should adopt it. So I think that will go a long way, so that the political will be driven by our political leaders to ensure that if we are involved in any data gathering, the government of nations have very strong political will, and they are determined as a nation and as a continent to build our universities on data. Thank you, sir.
Brilliant. Thank you so very much, Professor Michael Ahobe, about having policies that are approved at different levels for data capturing to ensure that we have sustainability of the process. Dr. Buguma Suwadu, please take the floor.
Bonjour à tous. Bonjour, cher professeur, et bonjour à tout le monde. Je vous remercie d'avoir participé à cette réunion qui est si importante sur les données en Afrique.
To this meeting, so important for data collection in Africa. I think that we need to bear in mind the importance of independence when it comes to collecting data. We need to detach politics from institutions of statistics. We need to see the reality of Africa through good and solid statistics, not biased ones.
Sorry, Dr. Bugoma, are you done? Okay, that's fine. Sorry, I didn't know. I was tuned to the English channel. Dr. Fred Awa, please take the floor.
Thank you very much. My name is Fred Awa, formerly of the All African Students Union, and now of the University of Professional Studies, Accra, Ghana. I would think that for the reliability of data for the policy data unit, what should happen is that there should be some bottom-up approach. That means what I mean here is that there should be students should be equipped with knowledge, skills, and attitudes needed to be able to take data, analyze them, and report them appropriately. A few universities on the face of the continent are getting this right. It is important that this is replicated across the face of the continent. You take, for instance, the University of Burundi Doctoral School. Data must be picked at all levels of your doctoral processes and then reported accordingly. At the World Bank African Center of Excellence into Transformative STEM Education at the Lagos State University, this has also been done and done successfully. I think that when African universities look at this as a collective agenda that reflects input from students to the policy level, then we can be having reliable data that can ensure the sustainability of the continental education strategy for Africa. Thank you very much. And in line with this—
Thank you so very much, Dr. Fred Awa. Thank you very much. Because I have almost like 7 people, and I'm going to stop in 7 minutes. So I'm going to give each person like a minute. But trust that your voices will be heard. When we finish, we will encourage you, because we have your email IDs, we'll encourage you to send us some more insights that will go into the revised version of our report. Michael Wangai, please take the floor. After that, Elias Soli. Yes.
Thank you, Prof.
Michael Wangai.
Yes. This is Michael Wangai. You can hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
You can hear me, Prof?
Loud and clear, sir. Loud and clear.
This is Michael Wangai, Quality Assurance, University of Nairobi, Kenya. You were here last time, so may I share a little about this area?
Yes.
What is happening now is that due to the pandemic, we are seeing new development is data collection. We are seeing that the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics is digitizing data. Our Commission for University Education is requiring every university to log in and update data in their system. So the management information systems, including the Kenya Qualification Authority, which is requiring every institution, tertiary institution, including universities, to update data in their systems. So I think in future, it will be easy now to get correct, verified, and triangulated data from these bodies, because now the management information system will assist in ensuring that we have correct data. Thank you, Prof.
Yeah, thank you so very much, sir. Professor Michael Wangai. I don't know whether it's my network, because I cannot. Juma, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right.
We can hear you. We can hear you.
Oh, thank you, sir. Professor Chuksumba. Oh, wonderful. Thank you, sir. Let's take Elias Soli. I'm sorry if I pronounce your name wrongly, but you have the floor for 1 minute.
Thank you, Prof. I'm the former Director of Quality Assurance and currently Dean of Graduate School at the University for Development Studies, Ghana.
Good.
I thank you for this nice session, and I just want to indicate that to move in the right direction, but we need to look at institutional policies on data collection, processing, and protection. Because within most institutions, we don't have policies. So data is collected, and if you're not careful over time, some leaders and they don't want to continue. People change their systems, and as a result, a lot of data is lost. That's a modest contribution. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Good point, which Professor Michael Ahove also made from Nigeria about institutional policies on data collection, verification, and all of that. Thank you very much, sir. Matete Madiba, thank you, sir. You have the floor, madam.
Thank you, Chair. I wanted to add complementary information to what Dr. Francois.
Do you want to share with us your country, where you are, country?
Yes, I am in South Africa, attached to University of Pretoria. And what I wanted to share is, and I think this provides a case study to follow through for the envisaged PDU. Besides HEMIS that we have in South Africa, provide data, the HEMIS system, as he said earlier, institutions are incentivized because the data that is collected by government helps, amongst others, in terms of resource allocation, but also enrollment management. So it is very good management information system where government is able to do its business. But now there is another case study to follow through, HEDA, which is a private company that has provided a software, and institutions can buy services, and through linking with HEMIS, as a South African university, you can, as a member of that, if you are affiliated, you can be able to compare with your peers and collect more data for your own business intelligence, and so that your decision making becomes far much easier. You can analyze, you can monitor, you can even predict using the software. And I think it is a very useful case study to follow through. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Professor Matete Madiba. Very, very useful contribution. By the way, I personally appreciate your contribution to the report, to the study. Your recommendations were quite apt, spot on. And what you just said amplified what you submitted. Thank you. We're taking on Dr. Abubakar. Dr. Abubakar. Next is Johnson Fatokun. Professor Fatokun, you have the floor.
Okay, Dr. Abubakar.
Okay, Dr. Abubakar, please carry on.
Okay, thank you, Chair Prof. I've learned a lot from you.
Yes, sir.
Mine will be just 2 or 3 contributions. My name is Dr. Abubakar Yakubu, Director of Academic Planning of Kebbi State University here in Nigeria. I am looking at contributions from the government itself. Our government should have the will in Africa, the will for them to be able to enact policies. You have made a correction or an example where some universities fabricate data.
Oh, yes.
Probably for gain or for something else. We should be able to have laws, policies where we can prosecute those who fabricate data. I think that will checkmate some area. Secondly, special units can be formed in the university, those units specifically for data collection. And some numeration, special numeration can be given to them. So that will make that unit function efficiently. So with the numeration and special unit, and then prosecute the will of government to be able to prosecute offenders to fabrication or whatever. Thank you, Prof. That's my contribution.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Abubakar. We really appreciate the contributions. Very good point regarding government and the other matters that you raised. Professor Johnson Fatokun, please take the floor. You have a minute. We have just 10 minutes, 8 minutes to end this segment of the work.
Thank you very much. Just 2 things. Number one, I'm suggesting that we have to...
Can you introduce yourself? Which country are you from?
Okay, I'm just...
Without my having to ask you to.
Anchor University, Lagos.
I know Vice Chancellor. I know Vice Chancellor. I know you. Yes, but yes, I know. But let others know.
Nigeria. Anchor University, Lagos, Nigeria. Now, 2 things, sir, very quickly. Number one, I'm thinking we should be going in the direction of developing a uniform instrument to generate data, so that we'll have varied submissions from different institutions. And then number 2, there should be a plan of action to train personnel. A plan of action to train personnel. And I'm suggesting this, that universities should develop academic curriculum for data science, even at the undergraduate level. And our regulatory bodies should try to support this and help us to start this in earnest. Thank you, sir.
God bless you, Professor Johnson Fatokun, the Vice Chancellor of Anchor University, Nigeria. Well done, sir. Ahmed, let's see the last name now. I'm sorry. Ahmed Legruri, please take the floor. Okay, while waiting for him, Adekunle Oladejo, take the floor. Okay, yeah, Ahmed, back to you, Professor Ahmed. Yes, back to you, Professor Ahmed.
Okay, I'm not allowed to use my camera. Do you hear me?
Yes, it's coming, but it's breaking. But please go on.
Would you allow me to use my camera, please?
Please, please, please.
Okay.
The next two people, Dr. Oladejo and Dr. Maitabre, I will only allow you a minute each because we don't want to exceed our time. Yes, Professor Ahmed Legruri.
Thank you very much. My name is Ahmed Legruri. I am currently Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs at the International University of Grand Bassam in Côte d'Ivoire. I am Moroccan. I would like to share with you my experience in quality assurance and data gathering analysis. I worked actually for Francophone universities, and I worked also for a very long period of time in US-style universities, both in Morocco and in Côte d'Ivoire. And the experience is rich.
Professor Ahmed, just make it in just 1 minute, because
yes,
after 1 minute, I'm going to mute you.
Less than a minute. Yeah. Okay. Less than a minute. So I would like to share with you the experience, which is very common in the US, is in institutions, they have what they call institutional research. And sometimes they add an effectiveness to the title of the office. And the office is in charge of gathering data, not only gathering data, but also analyzing them, and sometimes even carrying out studies and projections based on the data. That's what I wanted to share with you. Thank you very much.
God bless. Wonderful, Professor Ahmed Legruri. We're very proud of you for the 3 experiences that you've rolled into one to share with us. Dr. Adekunle Oladejo, who we acknowledge you in the report because you helped in formatting and in harvesting the table. So, Dr. Oladejo, take the floor.
Good afternoon, sir.
1 minute, please.
Good afternoon, sir, and thank you very much. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for this opportunity. My name is Adekunle Oladejo from Lagos City University, Africa Excellence for Innovative System Education. My area of contribution is around funding, because we're talking about sustainability. To actually achieve that, funding is important. And I'm looking at private sector partnership with our universities. Some private sectors are data consumers and others in that line. How do our institutions get to work along with all these data consumers such that from them the university can get money to fund these units? We're talking about incentivizing those that will work, remuneration. We need money to do all of this. Second to that is that the universities should also have...
Thank you very much, Kule. Funding, yeah, brilliant. Thank you very much. Mike Abre, last person, please take the floor. Thank you, Kule. Last person, Mike.
My name is Mike Abre from IEPA, Institute for Educational Planning and Administration in the University of Cape Coast, Ghana. I think my contribution is in line with the need for Africa to build a robust system for system-level performance, to assess system-level performance. The fact is, universities continue to produce graduates. To what extent are we sure the teeming youth Africa has the quality and pedigree that is comparable from one university to the other? Until we have a system of assessing at the junior high school level, at the senior high school level, at the university level, which is much comparable, we cannot do interventions and programs that can help us activate CESA 2016 to 2025, as well as other priorities for Agenda 2063. My contribution.
Thank you so very much, Professor Mike Abre. We've heard perspectives from different African countries. What I want to do now is to ask Professor Juma Shabani to conclude within 2 minutes. But before that time, I've heard quite a number of exciting suggestions from Cameroon, from Ghana, from Nigeria, from Cote d'Ivoire, from South Africa, and the others. We have added to the list about policies, about funding, about ensuring that standards are set and uniformly agreed upon and then incentivized. So what I want to do at this stage is to go back to our tempered agenda, because I want us to be able to agree on this. So I will just go one by one very quickly. If I don't hear anybody that is saying he or she doesn't agree with the temporal agenda, agreed upon derived from the studies that we had. Number one, select national data collection units in every country in the region, just like South Africa talked about HEMIS at the Australian level. Any objection? I see none. Number two, establish sub-regional coordinating node for national agencies. Any objection to this?
No objection. No
Three.
objection.
Yeah, okay, thank you. The regional policy data unit, CESA. So be in a location that is determined through objective criteria and geopolitical considerations. Any objection to that? Number three? None. Four?
No
we all
objection.
agreed on institutional capacity building, that there must be building of capacity, strengthening of capacities at the institutional level. Also, number five, human capacity building. And then for us to have harmonized regional standards for all higher education indicators. Any objection to number six? Okay, I see none. Let's go to number seven. Data verification, validation. I'm sorry, let me just clear. There's some noise from some place here. Let me mute the person quickly. That's Suleiman Ba. Suleiman Ba, okay, it's already muted. Thank you. So let's go on to number six, which is to ensure that the data are verified and validated, and security is ensured at all levels of the process. Any objection? I see none. We're going on to number 8, which is partnerships. That PDU should establish partnerships with global national organizations that have the same mission of data collection, processing, policy making, and all of that. And we'll give some examples from this study. Any objection? None. 9, monitoring and evaluation. Any objection? Then number 10, we all said this. Everybody who contributed said this, apart from this coming out from the report. Incentivization. Any objection? I see none. Meaning that we all approved of this temporal agenda. We'll expand on it in our final report when we are handing over to Elizabeth. Over to you, Professor Shabani, for a statement or two, and then Elizabeth will close.
Thank you very much. First of all, I should like to thank you and congratulate you for this brilliant presentation and coordination of the workshop. Secondly, I take note that there are several suggestions and the case studies which will be submitted to help us to enrich the reports, and we are looking forward. Maybe we should agree on some kind of a deadline to do that. Then the third one is that this activities, this event is being organized by the subcluster on harmonization, quality assurance, and accreditation. I think we need to encourage all the quality assurance agencies to try and to use this strategy and produce, very, very quality data, which will be for regional harmonization and so on. In the case of Burundi, we have we are evaluating the system, and I think this is coming at the right time, because we will use this to try to start the process of producing data, which will be used in the process of harmonizing with the East African community through the Inter-University Council for East Africa. So I thank everybody for contribution. I think it was very successful, and we look forward for further contribution that will help to finalize the report. Thank you very much.
Thank you, my colleague, Professor Juma Shabani, and we now invite Obrel Global. For your information, that's information of everybody here. Obrel Global is a wonderful outfit that has been